Over the past year, we have learned that Hillary Clinton is the kind of person to go to great lengths in order to silence someone who is actively trying to discover her dark secrets. Recently, a shocking list of mysterious deaths marked as suicides that occurred in 2017 has been circulation around social medias. Here is the interesting part: all of these people had one thing in common. They were all secretly or publicly working against former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. Thanks to our sources, we were able to share this list. 1. Steve Mostyn. A few months ago, the ex-chair of the Democratic National Committee, Donna Brazile, revealed that Hillary Clinton rigged the Democratic primaries against Bernie Sanders. She also claimed that Clinton was responsible for the death of Seth Rich, a DNC staffer, adding that she too felt scared of Clinton's capabilities. Shortly after her revelation, Democratic mega-donor and Houston attorney Steve Mostyn was found dead. His death was marked as a suicide, even though evidence indicated otherwise. According to Mixed Politics, Mostyn had once been close to Clinton, but their relationship came under severe stress back in 2015 when an ethics watchdog group, Foundation for Accountability and Civic Trust, FACT, filed a formal complaint against Clinton and her campaign for illegal coordination with the Ready for Hillary super PAC. The timing of his death is disturbing given the fact that Clinton has once again found herself at the center of scrutiny for alleged dirty dealings during her time as Secretary of State with the Uranium One deal, in which she and her foundation were paid off to approve a deal effectively turning over 20% of our uranium deposits to the Kremlin, they added. 2. Joseph Mifsud. Recently, a well-known professor, Joseph Mifsud, mysteriously vanished, leaving no trail whatsoever. Mifsud, who worked at the University of Rome, reportedly went missing a few months ago, and nobody has heard from him ever since. According to one of his colleagues, before Mifsud mysteriously disappeared, he had announced that he was able to find compromising material on Hillary that could be used as a key link between Hillary and the dirt that Russians had on her. According to CNN, Joseph Mifsud, the Maltese academic suspected of being a link between the Trump campaign and Russian officials, was once a regular on the foreign policy circuit, attending conferences the world over. Now, after being identified as a key figure in the U.S. Special Counsel investigation into Russian influence over the 2016 U.S. presidential election, Mifsud has gone to ground. 3. Journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia. Investigative journalist Daphne Caruana Galizia was well known for her so-called Panama Papers, which revealed how a Panama law firm helped several billionaires from around the world establish offshore tax havens on the Central American country. Thanks to this illegal strategy, a lot of crooked, slimy politicians, including the one and only Hillary Clinton, were able to stash massive amounts of cash in Panama in order to avoid paying taxes. The weeks before she was found dead, Galizia had informed authorities that she was constantly being harassed and received tons of death threats. As ABC News reported, Caruana Galizia had been sued for libel because of various articles she wrote on her blog running commentary, and she had filed a report with the police 2 weeks ago that she was receiving threats. Monday evening's Parliament session was scrapped, except for briefings about the bombing scheduled to be given by Mr. Muscat and opposition leader Mr. Delia. 4. State Department and federal agent Kurt Smollett. Back in August, State Department and federal agent employee Kurt Smollett's body was found in the Potomac River, nearly decayed. The people seem to believe that Smollett was taken out for attempting to expose Hillary for being connected to Pizzagate, as well as for her ties to a human child trafficking ring located in Cambodia. Yet another state employee is found mysteriously dead, his body pulled from the Potomac after being reported missing, one investigator stated. 5. Lord Jacob Rothschild. In what's being reported as a freak, unfortunate private plane and helicopter accident, where the two aircrafts collided mid-air, leaving 4 dead, is far more mysterious than is being said, based on who was on board, and is now dead, reported Political's Amanda Shea. What makes this collision strange, outside of how it happened, is that it took place right outside the Rothschild estate, and only 3 of the 4 victims have been named. It's being speculated that Lord Jacob Rothschild is among the casualties, and if true, this could be really bad for Hillary. So far, the only victims to be identified, perhaps on purpose, is the pilot of the helicopter, Captain Mike Green, and a student and flight instructor aboard the Cessna, 18-year-old Savin Mundy, who was being instructed by Jaspal Barha, according to The Sun. So, was Jacob Rothschild, with a very big connection to the Clintons, the 4th victim? Several sources seem to suggest that's the case, but the Rothschild estate has not confirmed nor denied Jacob's well-being. 6. Sean Lucas. For those of you who don't know, Sean Lucas was the attorney who served the Democratic National Committee with a lawsuit last year, proving that Debbie Wasserman Schultz teamed up with Hillary to rig the primary election against Bernie Sanders. The complaint was served shortly before Wasserman Schultz's resignation amid the WikiLeaks email scandal on the 24th of July. 7. Seth Rich. Last July, DNC staffer Seth Rich was found dead shortly after he sent WikiLeaks some very disturbing information regarding Hillary Clinton. Several weeks after that, WikiLeaks would publicly release thousands of emails which would expose Hillary for the slimy politician she is, but at that point, Rich was already dead. Rich was shot multiple times on July 10 as he was leaving his neighborhood in Northwest D.C., after which the shooter fled the scene, leaving 0 evidence behind. 8. Barrington J. Wisenant Jr. It is believed that Barrington J. Wisenant Jr. had taken over the DNC and Hillary case, and that before he mysteriously died he was actively working on exposing Wasserman Schultz's fraud and visa case in Florida. But just like Sean Lucas and Seth Rich, Wisenant Jr. far too close to Clinton's secrets and was found dead on a beach in Hollywood, Florida. These are just 8 of the over 60 people who mysteriously died this year. As reported by Godslivs.com, here is the rest of the list. 1. James McDougal, Clinton's convicted Whitewater partner, died of an apparent heart attack while in solitary confinement. He was a key witness in Ken Starr's investigation. 2. Mary Mahoney, a former White House intern, was murdered July 1997 at a Starbucks coffee shop in Georgetown. The murder happened just after she was to go public with her story of sexual harassment in the White House. 3. Vince Foster, former White House counselor and colleague of Hillary Clinton at Little Rock's Roast law firm, died of a gunshot wound to the head, ruled of suicide. 4. Ron Brown, Secretary of Commerce and former DNC chairman, reported to have died by impact in a plane crash. A pathologist close to the investigation reported that there was a hole in the top of Brown's skull resembling a gunshot wound. At the time of his death, Brown was being investigated and spoke publicly of his willingness to cut a deal with prosecutors. 5. C. Victor Razor II and Montgomery Razor, major players in the Clinton fundraising organization, died in a private plane crash in July 1992. 6. Paul Tully, Democratic National Committee political director, found dead in a hotel room in Little Rock, September 1992, described by Clinton as a dear friend and trusted advisor. 7. Ed Willie, Clinton fundraiser, found dead November 1993 deep in the woods in VI of a gunshot wound to the head, ruled of suicide. Ed Willie died on the same day his wife Kathleen Willie claimed Bill Clinton groped her in the Oval Office in the White House. Ed Willie was involved in several Clinton fundraising events. 8. Jerry Parks, head of Clinton's gubernatorial security team in Little Rock, gunned down in his car at a deserted intersection outside Little Rock. Parks' son said his father was building a dossier on Clinton. He allegedly threatened to reveal this information. After he died, the files were mysteriously removed from his house. 9. James Bunch died from a gunshot suicide. It was reported that he had a black book of people which contained names of influential people who visited prostitutes in Texas and Arkansas. 10. James Wilson was found dead in May 1993 from an apparent hanging suicide. He was reported to have ties to Whitewater. 11. Kathy Ferguson, ex-wife of Arkansas Trooper Danny Ferguson, was found dead in May 1994 in her living room with a gunshot to her head. It was ruled a suicide, even though there were several packed suitcases, as if she were going somewhere. Danny Ferguson was a co-defendant along with Bill Clinton in the Paula Jones lawsuit. Kathy Ferguson was a possible corroborating witness for Paula Jones. 12. Bill Shelton, Arkansas state trooper and fiancé of Kathy Ferguson. Critical of the suicide ruling of his fiancée, he was found dead in June 1994 of a gunshot wound, also ruled a suicide at the gravesite of his fiancée. 13. Gandhi Baugh, attorney for Clinton's friend Dan Lasseter, died by jumping out a window of a tall building January 1994. His client was a convicted drug distributor. 14. Florence Martin, accountant and subcontractor for the CIA, was related to the Barry Seal Mena Airport drug smuggling case. He died of 3 gunshot wounds. 15. Suzanne Coleman, reportedly had an affair with Clinton when he was Arkansas Attorney General. Died of a gunshot wound to the back of the head, ruled of suicide. Was pregnant at the time of her death. 16. Paula Grover, Clinton's speech interpreter for the deaf from 1978 until her death December 9, 1992. She died in a one-car accident. 17. Danny Casolaro, investigative reporter. Investigating Mena Airport and Arkansas Development Finance Authority. He slit his wrists, apparently, in the middle of his investigation. 18. Paul Wiltshire, attorney investigating corruption at Mena Airport with Casolaro, and the 1980 October surprise, was found dead on a toilet June 22, 1993 in his Washington, D.C. apartment. Had delivered a report to Janet Reno 3 weeks before his death. 19. John Parnell Walker, Whitewater investigator for Resolution Trust Corporation, jumped to his death from his Arlington, Virginia apartment balcony August 15, 1993. He was investigating the Morgan Guarantee scandal. 20. Barbara Wise, Commerce Department staffer. Worked closely with Ron Brown and John Huang. Cause of death unknown. Died November 29, 1996. Her bruised, nude body was found locked in her office at the Department of Commerce. 21. Charles Meisner, Assistant Secretary of Commerce who gave John Huang special security clearance, died shortly thereafter in a small plane crash. 22. Dr. Stanley Hurd, Chairman of the National Chiropractic Healthcare Advisory Committee, died with his attorney Steve Dixon in a small plane crash. Dr. Hurd, in addition to serving on Clinton's advisory council, personally treated Clinton's mother, stepfather and brother. 23. Barry Seal, drug-running pilot out of Mena, Arkansas, death was no accident. 24. Johnny Lawhorn Jr., mechanic, found a check made out to Bill Clinton in the trunk of a car left at his repair shop. He was found dead after his car had hit a utility pole. 25. Stanley Huggins, investigated Madison Guarantee. His death was a purported suicide, and his report was never released. 26. Herschel Friday, attorney and Clinton fundraiser, died March 1, 1994 when his plane exploded. 27. Kevin Ives and Don Henry, known as the Boys on the Track case. Reports say the boys may have stumbled upon the Mena, Arkansas airport drug operation. A controversial case, the initial report of death said, due to falling asleep on railroad tracks. Later reports claim the 2 boys had been slain before being placed on the tracks. Many linked to the case died before their testimony could come before a grand jury. The following persons had information on the Ives-Henry case. 28. Keith Coney, died when his motorcycle slammed into the back of a truck, July 1988. 29. Keith McMaskill, died stabbed 113 times, November 1988. 30. Gregory Collins, died from a gunshot wound January 1989. 31. Jeff Rhodes, he was shot, mutilated and found burned in a trash dump in April 1989. 33. James Milan, found decapitated. However, the coroner ruled his death was due to natural causes. 34. Jordan Ketlison, was found shot to death in the front seat of his pickup truck in June 1990. 35, Richard Winters, a suspect in the Ives Henry deaths. He was killed in a set-up robbery July 1989. The following Clinton bodyguards are dead. 36, Major William S. Barclay Jr. 37, Captain Scott J. Reynolds 38, Sergeant Brian Hanley 39, Sergeant Tim Sebel 40, Major General William Robertson 41, Colonel William Densberger 42, Colonel Robert Kelly 43, Spect. Gary Rhodes 44, Steve Willis 45, Robert Williams 46, Conway LeBleu 47, Todd McEahan 48. World-renowned space economist Molly McCauley was brutally murdered in Baltimore Park. 49. John Ashe, the former president of the UN General Assembly, was awaiting trial on bribery charges when he turned up dead in June, apparently having crushed his own windpipe while lifting weights in his home. 50. Victor Thorne, prominent Clinton critic Victor Thorne found dead of apparent suicide on his birthday. 51. Joe Montano, Filipino-American activist and aide to Senator Kane, dies at 47. 52. Klaus Ebor Wayne, found dead before testifying against Clinton Foundation in Haiti cover-up. 53. Man who sought Clinton's emails from Russian hackers committed suicide. 54. Steve Mostyn, major player in Hillary's inner circle, suddenly commits suicide.